So Brand very kindly will get us into the ship while you'll see the new enter sequence. And you'll see the new animations we have been working on. So you can see now that you won't directly grab the control stick. You'll be put on this relaxed pose with free look enabled. And you can see the different prompts appear over the buttons. So let's get this show started and get your ship ready for flying. So Brand, if you could close the canopy so we don't go flying around with that open. Power our systems. Oh, look at that. And finally, turn our engines. Yeah, so you are now ready for flying. So we will be bringing all of this to all of our ships in our fleet. And that's all from me. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Tony to tell you all about the new UI.
Hi everyone, my name is Tony. I'm Senior UI Programmer here at StarEngine. And I'm here to explain some of the spoilers that you saw yesterday about our new ship UI. So, are you ready to see the ship UI in action? Right. Bone, play the demo. Brand, continue with the demo. So, as you can see already, this ship has less intrusive UI, with more space to enjoy the stunning vistas that planets can offer, and less cluttered views so you can focus during combat. This also means that the UI elements are now more relevant to the situation, linked to the operator mode. For example, when we change to scan mode, the crosshair has scanning information about your target, and even the MFDs have changed. Some of these elements can be customized, but we'll see more about that later. For this demo, we're showing the UI developed for this Gladius. Basic information related to navigation will always be available on your view, and this Gladius displays all of that with holograms around the dashboard. But other ships may have different layers and styles, on brand with the manufacturer. For example, the Drake, that makes more affordable ships, rather than fancy and probably expensive holograms, may use physical screens, dials, and light indicators. This dashboard shows your current speed, the remaining afterburn, and some decoys available. On both far sides, we have status indicators that will show things like if your landing gear is on or any other flight systems. Worth mentioning that we have prototyped these for the demo, so right now they're holograms, but on the final design, these are going to be physical screens. On the far left, on the top of the dashboard, we have the indicator of which master mode and operator mode are you on. So let's change that to combat and talk about these new MFDs. So we have reworked all of these MFDs from scratch with brand new views using our UI technology building blocks. We can still navigate through these MFDs using the classic mouse interaction, holding F and then moving the mouse. On the left here, we can see the scanning view, which is going to show information that you obtain when you scan a target. It may show information about the ship name, the pilot name, or even the current operator mode of your target, so you know if they're just chilling around or they are ready to fight you. Cycling to the left one, we have the target status, which will focus on emissions, damage, and orientation of your target. We'll see that in action later. The next one, continuing to the left, will be the self-status, which is contextual. So during navigation, that will show your current fuel, but during combat, like right now, will show information about your guns. You can click on the gun, and you can see basic information about that. You will see the name, and you can also see in which group they are assigned, which Yogi will explain later. On the MFD on the right side, we have the power management, where we can distribute the power of different systems of the ship. You can click on the triangle and move it around to change the distribution, and you can turn down the total power of the ship that will generate. The classic key bindings that you all know already works, so when you change the power management, you will see now a triangle on top of the radar to show you the changes. Now, instead of using mouse, you can also use key bindings to select MFDs and cycle through the views, which might be faster when you are in certain situations like during combat. And for those pro players out there, we have added about 100 key bindings, and I mean 100, to navigate through all of these systems. So you can fully customize how you want to navigate through them. And I really hope that's more than enough to use on your keyboard, on your HOTAS, or even on your game class setup. But if you need more, just let us know. Anyway, I think you're not going to need even those many shortcuts. For each operator mode, we now persistently save which views are shown on each MFD. So you can customize what's important to you for every situation. So as an example, during combat, you might want to have target information on your MFDs, but maybe when you change to quantum travel, have your current fuel, spend some time on the configuration screen, for example. Let's talk about this configuration screen. We're going to have now here a variety of options, from customizing UI elements to enable systems of the ship. We may see some of these later in action with Yogi. These settings are now available on this screen, not in the global settings of the game, for quick access. So just as a warning, expect changes on the settings that you already know, but we'll tell you all about it when we have it ready. And the important bit about this is that they will persist to your ship. So you can keep different setup of which UI elements and even ship systems enable for how you personally use each of your ships. Now, some of you might be thinking that this Gladius doesn't have enough MFDs. Can we enable the top setting? For those of you that you want to see even more information, you can now cast versions of these MFDs to your helmet. For this, you're going to need to equip the appropriate helmet, so it's connected to your ship and I can get all this information. You can use the key bindings, as I mentioned before, so you can select which cast do you want to control and how to cycle through them. So you can pin views that are important to you that will move with your camera. So as you have seen, if you're aiming at a target or if you're moving with your head tracker, those views are going to be always with you. With all these tools, you can customize your experience and have it ready for every situation that you encounter with your ship, always displaying the relevant information to you. So for example, during combat, you may want to have all the UI elements enabled, all the pips, all the crosshairs, so the information of your ship on the physical MFDs, and maybe focus on the target information on your cast, so they're always on your view. But maybe when you go to quantum travel, you can turn those casts off so you can enjoy the vistas. That's all from me. Now we have MFDs ready, and let's bring Yogi back to tell you all about flying your ship. Thank you very much.
Okay, at this point, our ship is fully powered up, ready to fly. Pre-flight is complete. So Brent, please take off, put the landing gear in, and bring us out. Have you seen the interaction? This is great, isn't it? Okay, so one of the problems we always have in space games is to produce a sense of speed. Space is big, and the sense of speed is always produced by, small things going around you. So although it's not very visible here, the VFX team has actually added space dust, so in the future you can tell where your ship is going, even without looking at instruments. Another thing we're focusing on as well is G-force reactions. So Brent, if you could come to a stop for a second. When your ship is sitting like that, and you strafe left and right, you have these small head motions that basically make your head and your body react to the G-forces they're currently enduring. We're actually increasing them now. We also added rotational G-forces into the mix, so if Brent is now rotating the ship to the left, you also can see that your head is swaying a little bit. Things get a little bit more interesting when Brent is actually taking boost into the mix. So if he now boosts forwards, we now added a camera shake, we added FOV changes, and this all then plays together with the other things like, the other exhaustion effects that we have. So overall, the ship should now feel a little bit more reactive than before. The same thing, sorry. At the same time, we reduce the extensions that that the look-ahead code is doing. So we basically narrowed it down a little bit so it mixes better with GeForce reaction, so that even when you don't have a head tracker or something like that, it will still feel pretty good. But this is just a minor change. We also improved the flight controls themselves. So take a look at the speed gauge, for example. It's a little bit twitchy today. What that speed gauge is telling you, the number that's currently moving, is what kind of speed goal Brent is actually putting in. If he puts his stick all the way forward, the left one, you will now be able to see and read the number that you're asking IFCS to speed and forward momentum. This also allows us to bring back the sticky throttle we had pre 3.5, where now, if you play with mouse and keyboard, you can press W and S to increase and decrease your speed and let go of the key, and the ship will not automatically come to a stop. Of course, this is all completely configurable, so you can enable that or not if you want. Oh. Okay, Brent, give me some hard flying now, like blackout and all that. Okay, so another thing we changed in the flight model is that we actually looked at the tri-coding exploits. These are really important for PvP and racing players among you, because tri-coding gives us a mathematical problem that we're trying to resolve. On some ships, when you tri-code, you get actually up to 50% more acceleration. That huge difference actually makes a lot of the ship difference meaningless, so we're cutting back on those. So a first implementation of that is already available in the master mode testing areas in 3.21, I think, but we're improving the algorithm right now so that it actually is less punishing in future master mode builds. This is actually a current version, so as long as you go roughly forward, you get the full Gs from your back engines. Okay, so now the biggie in the room. We're talking master modes. Master modes is by far the biggest change we're doing on the ship gameplay. In general, all of your ships will be put into, or will get a master mode setup. And the master mode is affecting basically everything surrounding everything on the ship. The ship itself, the flight model a little bit, but specifically the items and what they do. And there are two master modes we're going to talk today about. One is SCM, which stands for Space Combat Maneuvering, and the other one is Navigation. So let's look into SCM. SCM is the mode that Brent currently has active. So you see the, Brent, can you go into the indication, please, for the master mode? Just point with the mouse there, if you can. Yeah, so this is your current master mode. It says SCM. When you use SCM for basically all the gameplay that is not traversal. So combat, mining, salvaging, you're using it for that. You have full access to your combat system. Your shields are working, your thruster boost is fully active, your weapons are working. It's the high performance, high alertness mode that you're in. However, we will heavily restrict how fast we can go. We can go with your ship. Okay, Brent, go to full max speed. So this Gladius on max speed and SCM can reach about 225 meters per second. That might seem slow compared to what you have in the Pew right now, but it's still pretty fast. However, you can extend that speed. Brent, if you just go forward and boost. So the Gladius can extend up to 550 meters per second. On this slide here, you can see the speed spaces we're talking about. So if you're just flying around in SCM, which is like the max speed of your ship, you can reach the 225 meters per second. If you boost, you can reach up to 500 or 550. However, that boost space is not spheric. That means if you boost forward, you reach higher speeds than if you boost backwards. That is really important for space combat maneuvering, or for dogfighting in general, because it discourages backstrafing. It actively actually punishes backstrafing, and it creates more interesting combat maneuvers. The PvP players among you, they basically call this encouragement to closing the gap, which is basically more forward-centric combat, which is much more exciting than backstrafing and just trying to get some shots on. It also forces you as combat players to commit to the decisions you did earlier in the fight. So it's going to be, we think it's much more exciting. Okay. So, in short, you pick SCM when you need to fight, when you want to fight, or when you need to fight, right? The thing with the master mode switches is that they do not happen instantly. They take a while to move over. So we're now going to put our ship into the second mode, which is navigation. So navigation mode is basically the opposite of SCM. What this does, it gives you a high-speed, low-performance mode. Your shields, they will collapse. Your weapons will not be able to fire. Your defensive systems will not be functional, but you have higher speeds. So in nav mode, you can still reach the speeds of what you have currently in the PU, something, I mean, depending on the ship, sometimes 1,000 meters or 1,400 meters per second. But all your regenerative systems, so regenerating the weapon capacitor, your thruster boost, will be inhibited. So this means when you want to go fast, you need to be very, very careful when you want to swap over. So imagine you're in a fight and you want to escape. You should not do it right away, because if you just swap to navigation mode in the hope to flee, you are being left with no shields. And the first thing that will go offline when you are hitting with distortion guns is the quantum drive. And that is important, because the quantum drive will spool automatically up when you enter nav mode, and it will then unlock the higher speeds. So this means when you're in nav mode and you're fighting, you're very vulnerable, so you should get out as fast as possible. Luckily, navigation mode not only allows you higher speed, but also gives you access to the new quantum travel experience, which we're going to show in a minute. So that is nav point that you see there on screen. This is the point where I want to go to and quantum travel to. Before we do that, I need to quickly explain what this is about. So currently in the PU, when you quantum travel from A to B, you're actually not really moving. You're going on a spline, and you're teleported in every frame along that spline. So there's basically no meaningful gameplay we can add there. The new quantum travel experience is fully physicalized. Physics is always on, which means when you quantum travel from A to B, you're actually accelerating using our awesome physics engine. And because it's physicalized, it gives us a lot more meaningful gameplay we can play with. So Brent will start the quantum travel in a second. What will happen then is your quantum drive will initiate the jump. You will see an effect that distorts the space around you, and you will accelerate forward. During the acceleration process, so this is the time until you actually reached your cruise speed, the ship will experience forces, and you as a player, you're responsible to counter these forces. So there is an element of failure. Okay, Brent, let's show that. And take your hands off. So what you just saw is basically the failed attempt to quantum travel. Brad wasn't countering the forces, therefore he was thrown out, the quantum bubble collapsed and threw you out. Your ship doesn't like that. IFCS needs 5-6 seconds to recover from that, during which time you're just tumbling, right? So and this is not just like dependent on your skills. If you think selecting a proper quantum drive doesn't matter in the future, think again. If you want to take care of your quantum drive, you want to repair it and keep it in good shape. So if you buy a cheap one, your travel will not necessarily be faster, but it might be harder. Okay, so Brent shows how it's done properly. You can now go hands off. Okay, so there's a second variant of quantum travel, and this is for short-range jumps. Sometimes you jump somewhere or you go somewhere, and you see the next point of interest is like 1,200 kilometers away. We're not going to force you anymore to travel that by hand. You will use a technique called quantum boosting. It's a quantum-based short-range jump for like something between a couple of hundred kilometers to like 30,000 kilometers or so. When you use quantum boosting, the process is practically the same, but the quantum bubble will not stabilize itself, so you need to be hands-on for the whole time, and the speeds are naturally, well, slower, but it's not slow, it's still quantum traveling, right? Okay, so Brent, can you boost to, oh, reinforcement needed. Yeah, let's go there, let's boost. Oh, actually, sorry. Thank you. Okay, so what Brent is currently showing here is, I think I forgot to mention, quantum boosting works in every direction. You don't need nav points. Brent is awesome, thank you. Okay, so now please boost to reinforcements needed. So if there's a nav point and you boost, your quantum travel system will pick that nav point to go to. Welcome to Pyro 3. As you can see, there's a lot of UI happening right now. There's a lot of context there. And this is not an online demo, it's a single player. So that means all these units there, they're friendly and hostiles, they're probably fighting with each other, which is a good segue to talk about AI improvements. And there's one man who can tell you all about AI. This is the man with the nicest legs at CIG. Well, please welcome Diego Marti Mason.